everyone, and welcome to episode number 3 of the How to Life podcast. I'm Dr. Laura Jaggett, and I'm so happy that you're listening in because today I have a great guest talking about an often confusing topic, insurance. You've heard the word and you know that it's something important based on the commercials you've seen and or your parents talking about it. But if I gave you a pop quiz, how much could you really tell me about it? Insurance is kind of unavoidable in adulthood, but it's not something that you can ease into. One day, someone else is handling all of this for you, and then the next day, it's your responsibility, and you don't really get the beginner's course. You just have to jump in and try to keep up. You're expected to know how it works and what the terminology means. I don't know about you, but I found that really intimidating and stressful when I was younger. So today I'm speaking with Wendy Everson, who's been an insurance agent with AAA for almost 34 years. And she is the best at what she does. Her very first year as sales agent, she broke the company's sales record. That's not surprising because she is a kind, dynamic, lovely person and incredibly knowledgeable. She also happens to be an amazing athlete. She bikes, hikes, plays tennis, and pickleball. And that's how I met her because I play a little pickleball myself. And as sweet as Wendy is, she's a formidable opponent. I would much rather have her on my side than play against her. On top of all of that, she's also very generous and giving of her time. She volunteers with Project Homeless Connect and Project 150, which helps homeless students here in Las Vegas. And lucky for us, she took some time to answer every insurance question I could think of. So let's get started. Here we go. Okay. Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for answering all these questions. I know that when I was younger, and my kids are young, and they have a lot of questions about insurance, and I did too. I knew I needed to have it, but I didn't know why or what it was. You told me that you handle personal lines. What does that mean?
It's just insuring you as an individual or your family, opposed to insuring your company, your business that you have.
Personal lines means your personal stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. First of all, let's define what insurance is. So it's something that we have to pay like monthly or yearly to protect ourselves in case something happens and the fallout from that incident cost way more than what we could afford if we didn't have insurance.
Right. Out of your own pocket.
So that's why it's important.
It's very important. Yes. State of Nevada.
Tell me about Nevada.
Well, in Nevada, it is compulsory for you to maintain liability insurance on your vehicle.
Compulsory meaning that it is required.
It's mandatory, yes. And if you're not insured, then you pay hefty fines.
If you are driving, if it's discovered you're driving a car that's not insured, they'll fine you for that?
Yes.
Or if you get pulled over and your car is not insured, what happens?
Oh, you can get a ticket, and then depending on how long the car's gone without insurance, within the first 30 days, it's $250, and it can go up to $500, all the way up to $1,000. And that's per car that if you're driving, if you have a car that's registered that has no insurance.
So first of all, I think there are a lot of people here who are new to the adult world, and they don't know what these terms mean, like liability or liability. Let's start with liability. That just means responsibility, correct?
Right. So liabilities, which carry by law, and on an auto insurance policy, it's bodily injury liability and property damage. So what bodily injury covers is if, let's say, I'm driving my car and I hit you, I'm liable. You're injured because of me. Then the liability limits that I have on my policy will cover the injuries that I caused to you. The state of Nevada, the minimum liability limits would be $25,000 per person, a total of $50,000 each occurrence. And then it goes all the way up to $1 million.
Okay, so let me just backtrack on that. So the minimum requirements would be what you would call 2550. Is that the correct terminology?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So tell me what that means.
So if I hit you, you are covered on my policy up to $25,000 per person, a total of $50,000 each occurrence. The maximum amount that my policy will be afforded to you would be $50,000. So it's $25,000 per person, a total of $50,000 each occurrence for injuries that I caused to you. And then property damage would be the damages I caused to your car. If I hit your fence, then ran into your car, it would cover any damage that I caused to your property.
if somebody comes to you, let's say a new driver wants to come to you for an insurance policy on their car, and they have no idea what they need, how do you determine, or what do you say to them as far as guiding them?
Let's say it's a 21-year-old person that needs insurance, first time getting insurance. I would let them know that the minimum liability limits that we cover in the state of Nevada would be $25,000 per person, a total of $50,000 each occurrence.
So they have to have insurance to cover another party for sure.
Yes.
Is there an option where if they're driving an old beat up car and they don't care about if it gets repaired or if it's totaled, do they need to have coverage for their own vehicle as well?
No, that is not required. The only thing that's required by the state of Nevada would only be the bodily injury and property damage. So if it's an older car and they just want liability, they have that option to just go with liability only.
And the bodily injury is for the other party or for them as well?
Bodily injuries for the other party.
Okay, so you just have to protect whoever you hit. That's the minimum.
Right.
And then from there, let's say they want to cover themselves, their car or their body. So then it just goes up from there. What are those other sections called? Okay,
so there's uninsured, underinsured motorists. Protect them. If they are involved with someone who does not have insurance or not enough insurance coverage, then having this type of liability, this coverage on the policy would provide coverage for them up to the minimum would be $25,000 per person, a total of $50,000 each occurrence. And then it does go up in increments from there. So let's say I hit you, I have no insurance, or, I don't have enough insurance.
Not enough. Yeah.
Right. Then if you have the uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage on your policy, you're able to file a claim against your own policy there.
Okay. And that's an option.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, there's also medical payments.
Called MedPay, is that correct?
MedPay, yes. Mm-hmm. That starts from $1,000 per person all the way up to $25,000 per person. And it varies from company to company. But what that does, medical payments gets paid out first and foremost, regardless who's at fault in an accident. So if I were to hit you or you hit me, and you have medical payments up to, let's say, $5,000 on your policy, you and anyone else in your automobile, regardless who's at fault in an accident, would be able to collect up to that amount per person.
All right. What other options are there for getting car insurance?
So that covers the bodily injury, property damage, uninsured, underinsured motorist medical. Now, to cover your vehicle, that would be comprehensive.
That's for your own vehicle.
Right. The deductible that you pay. A deductible is what you have to pay first and foremost before the claim is paid out. So let's say your car is vandalized and you have a $500 deductible. You'd pay the first $500 and then we'll take care of repairing your vehicle for the vandalism. Or if your car is stolen, it would be a $100 deductible or, $750 or $1,000 deductible.
I see. And that's called comprehensive, and that also is optional.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's optional if you own the car outright. Now, here's a little kicker on that. If there's a lien holder, let's say you just bought the car, it's a new car, then you do have to carry the comprehensive, and then that leads us into collision.
If you bought the car or if you're leasing the car?
Unless you own the car outright, have to have the comprehensive and then collision coverage also.
Collision does what? How is that different than the comprehensive?
Collision covers any type of physical damage you cause to your own car. So let's say you back into a telephone pole, you back into someone else's car, you cause direct physical damage to your own car. You pay your deductible and then we'll take care of the repairs of the damage.
Now, are these two separate things or is it together, comprehensive and collision?
They're separate.
All right. So you can pick and choose. There's a lot of a la carte items then.
Yes.
And what other things might you choose off the menu? How about rental car insurance if your car is in the shop and you are without a car?
Yes, that's important to have, especially if you have comprehensive and collision and you only have one vehicle. Because let's say the car is involved in an accident, you caused the accident, the car needs to go in for repairs, then as long as you have rental car reimbursement, you would be provided a rental car while your car is being repaired.
Okay. Is there a limit on that?
There is a limit, and it's with our company, it's either $30 a day, $40 a day, or $50 a day. And it usually will last up to 30 days, so for about a month's worth of coverage.
Let me ask you about a few terms. that we can define here. What is a premium?
A premium. Okay. So for the insurance policy that you purchase, that's the amount you have to pay the insurance company.
So that's what you pay that's what you pay. How do you pay? Do you pay monthly, quarterly?
You can pay monthly, you can pay quarterly, you can pay semi-annual, you can pay it in full.
Or you can pay it in full for the whole year and not worry about
Yes.
it. And that's called your premium. And then the coverage are these a la carte menus that we were just talking about, correct?
Right. Yes.
And they all have their own price point, and that adds to your overall premium, correct?
That's correct.
And the policy limits are, that is the amount that you are covered per person per incident.
Yes.
I got that right? All right. Are there any other terms specific to insurance that maybe someone new doesn't know what you're talking about?
Yeah, the deductible.
Oh, the deductible. That's important. Yeah.
So in the event if you have a claim, you have to file a claim, whether your car is stolen or vandalized or you cause, direct physical damage to your own car. Your deductible is what you have to pay out of pocket.
You pay that first before your insurance kicks in and makes up the difference.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Wendy. Does your auto insurance cover theft? Like, let's say your car's vandalized and they steal something out of it.
The vandalism part would be covered.
You mean the damage to the car?
Yeah, the damage to the car.
Mm-hmm. And what about the stuff that's inside? Is that covered under your auto policy?
No, it would be covered under your homeowners or renters policy.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about rates. I think a lot of young people are paying higher rates. Is that correct? And why is that?
Because they are a higher risk. That is correct. They are a higher risk. Teenagers up until, almost 30, they're always going to pay a higher premium. It's only because of the amount of claims that are paid out based on that age.
I see. So they do statistics and they're like, okay, people under the age of, is there an age? Does AAA have a certain age?
Yeah, well, it's under the age of 30. It's still always going to be higher. I mean, not as high if you're 29. It's not as high.
I see. So it incrementally goes down as you get older and have had no claims.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Up until the age of 30.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So they want to see that you are responsible and you have some experience under your belt. You've got a track record of having a good driving record.
Yes.
What about, let's say you're under 30, let's say you're under 25 and you're married. Does that help you at all or no?
Yes, it does. A married rate will always help you because it does show that you're responsible.
So it's not like when you turn 26, all of a sudden your rates are going to really go down. No. Are there other ways they can lower their rate?
So if they are a good student, full-time student, good student, discount, 3.0 grade point average would give them a nice little discount. Up to, with AAA, it's like up to 15% discount. Also offer a driving program called Teen Smart, which they would have to take and complete this online computer class before the age of 19. And that's a nice little discount. It's 24%. And the benefit of that is once they take that, it stays on their record for up until the age of 24. So they get that discount, provided there's no other at-fault accidents that they cause. They would be able to maintain that discount on their policy up until the age of 24.
That's really good.
It is.
Good student, being married. Anything else they can do?
Well, having a multi-policy discount. So if they purchase a renter's policy, that benefit the policy quite a bit too. So having more than one policy will help them.
And then this is a question that I've wanted to know for years. When you're renting a car, the company always says, do you want to take our insurance out? And I have always wondered, should I take it out? Will my own policy cover a car rental?
As long as you have comprehensive and collision coverage on your existing policy, it will extend to that rental vehicle. So no, it's not necessary for you to take out the insurance with the rental car place.
But you have to have comp and collision.
Right, that's correct.
And then will it work just as if it was your own vehicle? You'll have to pay a deductible. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. One big question I have about car insurance, I think a lot of people are driving Uber and Lyft. How does that work? How does it affect their insurance rates?
Well, unfortunately, AAA is not able to insure someone that does drive for Uber.
So there are only selective companies who do that.
Yes.
And then tell me about the AAA membership. I have one. I've had one for years, and it has been one of the best things I have ever invested in. Every year it helps me out. So tell me what the benefits are and the costs.
Well, there's actually 3 levels of memberships that we do provide, depending on how much coverage you want. There is our premium coverage that if you like to do a lot of road trips, traveling, the AAA Premier is the best membership that we do offer because it does provide emergency medical transportation. It provides travel accident insurance, trip interruption delay coverage. It does provide coverage for fuel. If you run out of gas, we'll deliver gas to you. There's no charge for the fuel or the delivery. One call up to 200 miles of towing if need.
That actually happened to me once. I got stuck in the middle of the desert, 190 miles from Las Vegas, and I had that coverage, and they towed me all the way back to Vegas.
Oh, nice. Yes. So all 3 of these memberships, they do follow you. And that's what a lot of people are not aware of is that the membership does follow you on an individual basis. You can be a passenger in a friend's car. You can be in a rental vehicle. You can be anywhere nationwide, even in Canada, 24 hours a day. You're fully covered no matter where you're at. If you need AAA, we're there.
What about if, let's say, my daughter is driving my car and I'm not there? Is she covered or no?
Unless she's a member. She would have to be a member, which means you would have to add her onto your membership as an.
I see. So if she's driving my car and she gets a flat, right, I would have to show up to meet the tow truck?
But just really quick, that's a AAA Premier that I went over. And then there's a AAA Plus, which is actually does give you some of the travel benefits too. And that gives you 100 miles of towing. There's a basic classic membership that gives you 5 miles of towing, and it's, it does provide locksmith reimbursement. So there's 3 levels of memberships. And the great thing is that you can start with one, like the classic, and then upgrade it to the Premier at any given time. So to start with the classic, and then let's say a few months down the road, you decide to take a road trip from here to New York City, then you can upgrade it to the AAA Premier at any time. Getting back to discounts, there's hotel, motels, attractions, restaurants, retail shops, theater tickets. You all get discounts for being a member of AAA. IHOP, there's a lot of restaurants that are starting to offer AAA discounts. IHOP is one of them. Diners, that's another place that offers a AAA discount. And it's called the Show Your Card and Save program. The great thing about it is there's a lot of other restaurants, retail shops that actually are jumping on board with AAA. So if you just go on the website to AAA.com, you'd be able to see what other places offer these discounts because there's so many discounts just for being a member. You just show your card and you can save money.
And they also, I know going back to the auto services, I have used them when I've locked my key in my car. I have run out of gas. My flat tire, they've come and jumped a battery, and then I could buy a new battery and they'd put it in right then if that was the case.
Right.
How much are the different plans? The basic, the plus, the Premier?
Well, a AAA Classic, for one person, it's $56.
A year?
Yeah, $56 a year for the classic membership, the basic 5 miles of towing. If you'd like to add on a second person, it's $34 for that second person.
Okay.
And again, it does follow them on an individual basis. So whether or not they're a passenger in a friend's car, rental vehicle, they're fully covered. And then there's a AAA Plus. It gives you 100 miles of towing. It does give you that locksmith reimbursement up to $100. And it does give you some travel benefits. And that's $91 for the primary member. And then to add anyone else on, that would be $52 for the year.
Okay.
The most comprehensive membership we have, the Premier membership for the first person, it's $119 for a year. And then for the second person, it would be $74 on top of that.
That is very, very affordable. And just to let everyone know, I've had the Premier membership for a long time, and it is the best money that I spend. Every year it helps me out. It's much more valuable than the $119 I pay a year for it.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad. And we thank you for that. We love our.
You're welcome. Thank you, AAA. I also get discounts at, restaurants and hotels and attractions. I use those discounts all the time. The next step up, at least for many young people, is renter's insurance. If somebody says, I don't have anything anyway that's worth insuring, why would someone need renter's insurance?
Because it's not only about personal property. A lot of people may think that they don't have a lot, but then, if you start to realize, you step back to realize what you have, and you lose everything and you have no coverage for that, it does add up. But not only does renter's insurance cover you for your personal belongings, and it also covers your personal belongings worldwide, but it also gives you loss of use coverage. So let's say they're living in an apartment. The neighbor next door happens to be smoking a cigarette and causes a fire. And so it takes off several units from this fire. So it will also provide coverage, loss of use, living expenses. While they're not able to live in their apartment, they do have some type of coverage, some type of benefit on their policy to live elsewhere until they're able to move back into their apartment.
That's important.
So, yeah, that's a benefit on that. And then here goes liability again. Liability on their policy will also cover them away from home. So, the minimum amount for liability coverage on a renter's policy is $100,000. If they're out snowboarding somewhere and they fall into someone else and they injure that person, they're covered on their renter's policy up to $100,000. You can have the liability. That's just the minimum $100,000. You can go all the way up to $1 million for.
Wow!
If you injure someone away from home, you're covered on your policy on your personal liability.
And this is the policy also that if you are robbed or your car is robbed, you would use that
personal
benefit.
Property.
I see, from your renter's insurance.
Right. On the renters, there's the medical portion. There's medical payments on there too. So let's say, they have a get together, some friends come over, one of them trips over an area rug and they sprain their ankle. They would be covered on their home policy, on the renter's policy up to $5,000. That's middle of the road for coverage, $5,000 per person for medical benefits. It's more than just the personal property aspect of it. There's the personal liability, the medical, and the living expenses that are all involved in a renter's policy.
I did not know about the living expenses, even at my age.
Yes, it fully covers you. Well worth having.
Anything else about renter's insurance that a young person might need convincing to get?
Well, it's really inexpensive to have. And, most of the places in Las Vegas, they do require you to have a renter's policy. And it's, even though they may think that they do not have a lot to insure, if they lose everything, that's going to have to come out of their own pocket to replace all those items. Whereas a renter's policy, you just pay that yearly, monthly, quarterly premium, and then you have your items replaced.
Right then and there. So the price for it is based on how much coverage you want.
Yes.
Just like your auto.
Right. How much coverage you want. And our minimum with AAA is $25,000. How much coverage they want, their deductible, where they actually live, how old they are. And then we do confirm what's called a financial responsibility. That is all part of the rating factors that we use, that most insurance companies use when they put together quotes.
And how do they confirm that financial responsibility?
We use a third party called LexisNexis, and they take a peek at a person's credit. It's not solely based on a person's FICO score or any other scores. It's just something that they take a peek at, determine if they're a good risk, and
basically showing responsibility.
Right.
Okay. And also any other claims you've had in the past, which ties into responsibility.
Yes, it does.
So now let's go into home insurance, a step up from renter's insurance. There are young people who are buying homes or they have one. If they own it outright, are they required to have insurance?
No, they are not required to have insurance if they own the property outright.
But if they have a mortgage, again, where there's another lien holder, then that party requires it so that they are protected as well.
That's correct. Yes.
And what kind of things is that going to cover?
Well, with AAA, we actually offer 3 types of home policies, depending on how much coverage you want. There's so many different options, endorsements that you can enhance the policy, custom fit what you need. There's a basic policy that has extended replacement cost on the dwelling. So, let's say your dwelling is $200,000, okay, which is the structure. The house itself is $200,000. Okay. Replacement costs. What that means is in the event of a total loss, we had to rebuild your home from ground up. We start with 25% extended replacement costs. We can cover that home, the $200,000 home, up to $250,000 because we extend coverage to cover the rebuild, the debris removal of a house that is totaled.
I see. And that's for the building.
For the structure itself, the actual dwelling. So, you can go anywhere from 25%, 50% to 200% extended replacement cost on the actual dwelling itself. So what that helps is building cost, labor costs, because that also goes up from time to time. There's always an inflation on the materials that you use to build a house. So you're always going to see a slight change in the amount for the coverage A, the dwelling amount, the structure itself every year when you renew your policy.
Does it ever go down?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
So that basic extended plan covers the structure. What about personal property? Is that a different item?
That is a different item. So from personal property, it jumps to other structures on the property.
Okay.
And the structures would be like a pool, a shed, built-in barbecue, fire pit, anything that you
outside.
Have. Yes, and it's 10% of the coverage A, the dwelling amount. Now,
what does that mean?
So if you have the $200,000 for your personal property, your other structures would be $20,000. It's automatically a percentage off of the coverage A, that dwelling amount, that first amount.
It's calculated together.
Yes.
Is landscape included under that, or is that separate?
Landscaping is included depending on what it is. So let's say there's some rats that eat up the garden and, the canary palms and everything. That's not covered. But if, let's say, someone drives into the backyard and damages the green palms that you have back there, those items would be covered.
If the car that drove in and damaged your property wasn't covered, then your insurance would cover it. But really, you want to go to that guy first, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
That's good to know. You don't have to go through yours if someone else caused the problem.
If they're liable for it, then they're responsible. So,
bodily injury to someone else.
That would be under personal liability.
What about injury to you? No.
If you were over at my house and something happened to you, yes, you'd be covered. But if I was injured in the same situation, I would not be covered. And no, nothing else that we offer on that. That would be your own separate medical insurance that you have.
All right. What is an umbrella policy?
An umbrella policy, that's an extra layer of liability to protect your assets over and beyond your home policies and your automobile.
Is that something that would cover theft outside the norm in your home? Let's say you had paintings or jewelry, or the paintings and jewelry included under your regular home.
Paintings and jewelry would be covered under your primary home policy. Normally, like I have a lot of clients, they do have quite a bit of jewelry, and that's the time to schedule it. When you schedule it, you have a different type of coverage on, let's say, a wedding ring. If it's stolen, misplaced, have no idea where it's at, as long as that item is scheduled on your home policy, it would be fully covered with no deductible.
And it costs more to schedule these other additional
Yes.
items? So the umbrella policy then just kind of picks up anything else that your other coverage missed.
So umbrella policies are normally written from $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million. If someone has a primary home, rental properties, jet skis, a whole bunch of toys,
extras, yeah,
then a liability policy, an umbrella policy is good to have. So what'll happen is normally you have to maintain your other policies, which would be your auto, renters, or home policies, would have to have a certain underlying limit. It's normally $500,000. $500,000 for your home or even on your renter's policy. And then on your auto insurance, you'd have to carry the $500,000 per person, a total of $500,000 each occurrence. So what'll happen from there with an umbrella policy is, let's say you're driving, okay, you cause a major accident, $500,000 liability limit would be exhausted from the auto policy. And then after that, your umbrella policy will kick in for 1.5 million or 2.5 million. All the way up to 5.5 million, because the first 500,000 would be covered on your auto insurance, and then your umbrella policy will kick in after that. Same with your home policy. The first 500,000 would be covered on your home policy. Anything over and beyond that would be on the umbrella policy. It's a liability policy. Anything that you may be liable for, slander, wrongful eviction, anything. Your liability on your home policy is first and foremost, and then the umbrella policy kicks in after that.
I see. So it's not a required policy, but it's something that a lot of people find very valuable and have peace of mind by having that.
Right.
It depends on the circumstance.
Yes.
Is the umbrella policy a separate deductible?
No.
Okay.
There's no deductible.
There's no deductible for it.
No.
But if you already have a claim open, you paid your deductible on something else, then the umbrella just kind of picks it up without having an additional deductible.
Right.
How does it work if I have to file a claim? Should
So
they call you first since you're their agent?
Yeah, a lot of times, yes. A lot of times they do call, and then we help them file the claim through our 1-800 number. And then what they do is the claims adjuster on the other side will take the information. If there's a police report, we'll just take, the police report number and everything. And once they take care of that, they'll ask, what the condition of the car is in. If it's drivable, then you have the option to take it to any shop that you'd like to get repaired. And that just kind of gets the ball rolling. And
I see. So if they have an agent like you and they don't know what to do, they'd probably call you first, and then you would help point them in the right direction. Because claims department is different than you. You do sales, correct?
That's correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
All right. So now the big question, if you open a claim up, do your rates go up?
Depending. With AAA, the benefit with us is that if you cause a little fender bender, let's say you're in the parking lot, you back into someone else's car, you're 100% at fault. But if that's under $1,000, no, that will not count against you. Anything under $1,000 would not count against you if you're 100% at fault. Now, let's say it's over that. Yes, it will make a difference if there's just property damage paid out opposed to injuries with property damage.
It depends on the amount the insurance pays out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Is there a general percentage that you know of that it goes up, like up to $5,000, it'll go up this percentage, or $10,000?
No.
There's not a general rule of thumb. Do they take other considerations of, well, this person's gone 30 years without having an accident? Does that matter?
Well, here's the thing with AAA. Once you've been insured with us for 4 consecutive years, you'll earn what's called first accident forgiveness. So let's say you do cause a major accident. That accident will not be surcharged against your policy because you have earned the first accident forgiveness coverage. So it's automatically inclusive once you've been with us for 4 years.
It pays to be loyal then.
Mm-hmm, it does.
So if you are in an accident, how long does it stay on your record?
3 years.
Is that about the average, or does it ever go longer than that?
It does. It's 3 years that it'll be surcharged in your policy, and then 4 years on top of that. But it doesn't count for as much percentage-wise on the policy. So the older the claim is, the lower the surcharge will be. You'll see it decrease.
What are the benefits of having an insurance agent rather than getting your insurance online?
Well, a lot of times, for as long as I've been doing this, a lot of people, they do like to deal with someone on a one-to-one basis. They like the fact that I know who they are when they come in. They like the fact that I'll be able to help them, step by step. If they call and they want to get quotes on a car that they're considering buying, you call and it's kind of nice to be able to know your clients and know who they are and what they do, and just like, no problem, I can take care of you. But to be able to have someone that you can deal with, that you can call, that you can email and just say, hey, I got this going on. What do you think? It helps to have a one-on-one contact. Just dealing with a 1-800 number, anyone you get, it's a random person, and then they don't know
who you are, your details, or
right.
They can't help you out. You can give advice because you kind of know this person. It's like you steer them in a better direction. Is it more expensive to use an agent than going online?
Yes, to a point that it's what you want to get out of the dollar that you're spending. So there are companies that all you do is just 1-800 number, and that's it. And then there's no other contact except what happened if they're not able to make their payment, the policy's canceled. Having an agent, I'm able to go up to bat for them. If there's a problem that they're running into that they're having difficulty understanding, then I'll jump right in and help them along to whatever they need. Having one point of contact to help take care of your situation, rather than just blindly calling a 1-800 number and then just hoping that that person will give you what they really need to help you along with your situation, your problem.
What makes a good agent, and how would one go about finding a good agent?
Good agent is someone that's dedicated to their job, dedicated to the insureds. A good agent is someone that will listen when you have a problem, a situation, or, just I work up at the Summerlin office. I have a lot of my insureds that they go to Costco and then they swing on by, and then sometimes they just want to come over and talk. So
talk to a real person.
They want to talk to a real person, and then they want to share what they bought at Costco with me. And I'm good with that. It's like, yeah, come on over. I'll listen,
That's nice. It's comforting to have somebody who knows you and who has the answers. You don't have to wonder. It's like this person, Wendy has the answers. And I know it's one less thing I have to worry about or think about it. I know she's got my back.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Wendy, thank you so very much for taking the time. You answered a ton of questions here.
Well, great. I'm glad to help.
So if you're in Nevada, what's the best ways to find you?
Well, I am out of the Summerlin office, the Summerlin on AAA office on Charleston and 215, right next to Costco. Everyone knows that. I am reachable via email. And
I can list that in the show notes.
And then I also have my phone number.
If anybody is in the state of Nevada and you are freaking out because you don't know what to buy or how to do it, and you would love a wonderful, kind, knowledgeable person like Wendy, I think this pretty much was a good resume. Give Wendy a call. Thank you, Wendy, so very much.
All right, Laura. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Well, what'd you think? Did you learn something new or everything new? I hope you enjoyed this interview with Wendy Everson. And if you live in Nevada and you would like someone to handle all of your insurance needs for you so that you don't have to deal with it, you can find Wendy at the AAA office in Summerlin. I'll put all of her contact info in the show notes, which you can find on my website, howtolife.com. Or you can just go to this show directly at howtolife.com/episode 003. Thank you so much for listening today. Let me know what you thought, or if you have any other questions, ask me. You can reach me via email at drlj@howtolife.com, drlj@howtolife.com. Go ahead, send me a message. I will get back to you. And before you go, if you wouldn't mind leaving a quick review on Apple, I would really appreciate the feedback. It will also help me and this show out quite a bit. Thank you in advance for that. And if you're still here, please take a moment and subscribe to this podcast so that you can automatically get the upcoming shows to whatever platform you're using. I'm looking forward to sharing more great interviews, insights, and inspiration in the upcoming shows. I've got some great stuff lined up. Until then, as always, have fun, do your best, and be easy about everything. All is well. You've got this.